So we are in an era that we need to have online presence. And the most important thing that for any business that you are starting is a website. And in today's webinar, I'll be walking you through step by step of the exact workflow, how I design my own as well as my client website. So let's go check out my screen first. As you can see, this is my brand new website. Has gone through a lot of changes. It has a lot of function, but it also has a lot of new things I want to bring about. Now, I don't really hope that anybody who's starting should make a website as complicated as this. Now, it may seem very simple, but often the most simple is the hardest to make. So I want you guys to keep in mind the few basic pages that you need. When you build a website, the most first important thing that you need to do is to build a homepage, because that's the first thing that people land in. Then, depending on what kind of business that you're in, now a lot of service-based business, they should have their service page made. Then an about page that explains who you are, what the business is about, how the visitors can be beneficial from coming to you. Then obviously the last thing that they need to do is to get in hold of you guys. So let's go take a look at the service page. Now, I specialize in online marketing. However, there is many branches of online marketing: the web design, automation, CRM, SEO, paid ad, brand building, even. There's so much. So let's focus on website design today. Just like when you guys are in a service-based niche, for example, if you're in a insurance broker, mortgage broker, real estate broker, these are all considered a service-based industry, then you definitely could take a look at how I present my website today, and I'm going to show you using the whiteboard to actually how to build it. Now, this page here is the exact instruction of how I build things. I usually would have a nice heading, a subheading, a call to action button, and a video explanation over here. Then I'll break it down, the kind of framework, how I would have consultation, how I build a wireframe, which I'll be showing you, writing code for your design, and then testing and deploying the finished site. Then, most importantly, if you have an actual example, make sure you put it on here on the website as well. So back to service-based example. If you are an insurance broker, obviously you cannot disclose any sort of privacy stuff, but if you do have your client, very satisfied client, let them make a Google review or Facebook page review, Yelp review, Trustpilot review, and embed it on here. That is really important. Then obviously you explain a little bit who exactly needs your type of service right here. Then just give them a more detailed feature of what your service is about, because they understand, okay, what the benefit is. They understand, okay, they can get this kind of service from you. Now you just need to go more in depth. As they are scrolling down and down, then the call to action for them to book an appointment from you. Okay, and if you do have a frequently asked questions section, that would be great too. So let's go into the whiteboard and show you exactly what I mean. The first and foremost, let's not worry about SEO and all the other stuff. I talked about that in other videos already. Make sure you go check it out up here. Now, let's talk about building a wireframe. Before you even build a wireframe, I want you to remember the first thing: decide on a domain. What is a domain exactly? Domain is the kind of like the sign on the World Wide Web, okay? You know the sign that you will see when you are walking out on the street? You see the business sign, those are the signs. Now on the World Wide Web, on the internet, the domain is your sign. So picking a great name would be beneficial for you. Now, I highly strongly suggest if you are a solopreneur, I would strongly suggest using your own brand name because you can then branch out to a lot of other business that you're in. Now take me for example, online marketing consultant is my main focus when it comes to building a website, when it comes to showing things online. However, I actually can branch out into other expertise, such as I have a clinic. I can go into selling MLM or network marketing product, or I can do affiliate marketing, e-commerce, etc., all using my name and just make a makeshift. In fact, I have a studywithsimon.com domain name that I sell all these educational material on that website as well. So it's better to use the brand name that you want to keep on using for a long period of time. Like I said, solopreneur, use your own brand name, use your own name. If you are not a solopreneur, you're working for a broker, say an insurance, mortgage, real estate broker, then abide their law and choose a domain that would best fit them. So that's number one. Number two, once you decide on the domain, you need to pick a host. Now, I only build website for or on WordPress. That's it. Nothing else I do. I mean, I shouldn't say that. I can build things in Wix, Weebly, Squarespace, Shopify even, Magento maybe, but I like to focus my effort on WordPress because there are two benefits of doing this. Number one, it's very easily customizable without the extensive knowledge of HTML, CSS coding, which I lack. I am very bad at those things. I have basic knowledge, but I'm not so good at it. So WordPress allows me to do things very, very easily customizable without the coding knowledge. That's the first benefit. Number two, it's also very easy to use for the client that I built for. Now, I will show you the back end in just a little bit what I mean by that. But the job that I have, the career that I have, is that I need to make things that's easy for my end users to use. And if they are having difficulty, I have to actually go into their dashboard and start helping them, and it takes a while to do so. So I highly recommend WordPress for that specific reason because it's so easy to use. Now, what is a hosting? It's a very good question. Hosting is actually your kind of website server, kind of like your computer, for example, that's hosting a web domain that allows people to go in and out to browse the website. You see, as you are browsing the website on your phone, you're actually accessing a server. So when we are on Google search, we're actually accessing on Google servers, same thing with Facebook. So having a host server is important. Having a good one, a great one, is even better. Now, I only specifically use hosting for WordPress. There are many hosting server I've used in the past 6 years, from GoDaddy, HostGator, SiteGround, Bluehost, A2 Hosting, you name it. DigitalOcean, there is WP Engine. Now, I only use one called WP Help, which I'll leave the link down below. This is very, very useful. It's a small business company that specializes in WordPress hosting. It takes away a lot of like gimmicky function that only specific functions are needed for optimizing and installing, running your WordPress website. So that's the second thing that I would highly recommend you to do. The third thing, finally, we're going into, sorry, there's a construction going outside right now. Finally, we're going into deciding on a framework, building a framework. This is probably gonna take the most time out of today's webinar, so just be patient. Let me have a sip of coffee. Always good, black coffee. Okay, so building a framework is one of the most key points whenever I'm building a website for other people. You see, I used to just be like every other guy out there that, okay, well, someone told me to build a website. I don't know what the hell they're doing, but I'm just gonna build it. I'm gonna go online, go to ThemeForest, go to other pages that sells ready to go template and just help them install it and call it a day. Okay, that's what I used to do back when I first started 6 years ago. I'm not saying that is not doable anymore. A lot of business actually prefer it that way. However, if you're building a website for a very specific client, or you're building it for yourself, every industry is different. Now, it's important to also know that you know exactly where the flow is going to be. Then you can decide on what pages you need, how many pages that you need, and what content that goes into it. That's why it's called a framework. We wireframe it before you attempt installing a template. Or for me now, I don't even install a template. I basically build one from scratch for my clients, which a lot of time I need to charge a hefty fee for that, just because I am doing this from scratch and make sure there's minimal distractions that would cause interference inside the website. So I'm going to use an example for a service-based industry. Let's use insurance broker. A wireframe would then need to decide on, okay, what do they need to do? What do they need to get out of this particular website? So they could have a request of saying, I need to have online quote system. Okay, that's actually a very common thing. Now, depending on how big the broker is, online quote system can be done very easily or very difficultly. So you have to figure it out. Now, let's keep on going. We have an online quote system, okay? We also need a client login portal to check for their, I guess, policies, for example. This is going into very customized functions as we are getting into this stage already. Obviously, they want to generate lead out of it. Generate new leads, okay? Some people might even say, I want a referral program from previous clients to send leads to, you know, those kind of things. You have to take into all these considerations and kind of think how to do it. Then you can decide on the function of the website. Honestly, up till this point, I get stuttered from even breaking it down for you guys because it's actually very complicated. I don't know why I chose to use a service-based industry, but I did as an example. So let's keep on going. So these four basic functions are not basic anymore because there's a lot of different tools needed to be combined into it. Now, obviously, now it needs to build new contents on a monthly basis, weekly basis, etc. Okay, so this is what we call the blogging. So we have that. Then obviously we need to have the actually converting the leads. So conversion optimization is key. So I mean, I wouldn't even call it a framework. I would just call this like basic necessity of the client, requirement of the client in order to take on such a project. Now, normally, when you are building something like this, please charge more than $2,000 for your website. Please charge more than $5,000 for it to go on and so on. I honestly don't recommend you take on such a project for a small fee, unless you're doing this because you're new. Why I say this? Because even up to this point, the websites I have built for this client particularly, it took a lot of time. I had to constantly scratching out from this. Let me show you actually my actual framework. Like, this is my actual framework. I have home, service, about, contact, get a quote, claim, login portal, etc. Not to mention there's more pages on the right. Like, that is a lot, right? So I'm not going to show you everything because, you know, it's for my client. But this framework becomes that. So let me give you guys the actual breakdown of how I built it right now. So wireframing, okay? Step 4 is wireframing. Now, I guess I shouldn't call step 3 building a framework, but let's just call it that. Step 4, building a wireframe. So we need a home page. So now we're deciding on the amount of pages that we need. So we got home. Okay. Let's use a website. Okay, so let's use the boxes, and then from the home we have a service or product. I think in insurance they call it products. Okay, they should. Then we got a supposedly a resources, which has the news and blog and everything. We got the about. Now, about page is quite important. It's sort of like the funnel, which I'll explain a little bit. We got contact. Then we got get a quote. And we also got portal, login portal. Okay, so all these. Okay, all these are the basic pages. And up to now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pages. Just to get the basic framework done. This is the basic wireframe. Okay? I'm not even going into detail yet of specific product pages. Okay, so this could be multiples times n. I'm not even going to different resources page. This is also times n. Now, about page is quite easy a lot of time, so let's leave it at that. Contact page, same thing. The most difficult actually is to figure out the actual flow of the questions. This is really difficult. Excuse me. That is the wireframe so far. Okay, let me drink. Okay, we have yet tapped into the detail of it, but just building a wireframe, it already took us, I don't know, 10 minutes, 20 minutes now. This is how hard it is for a lot of web designer. For example, let's change it back to my face first. A new web designer who has no knowledge of the client business type would just say yes to everything, but can't really figure out the exact pages that they need. And whatever came out to be the result of the design, it just doesn't work. Now, a lot of time, I expect my clients to actually come up with the content and the images. I do expect that, okay? So my contract usually says if you don't have the content and the images, by the time I finish building the framework, the actual website, I'm still gonna charge you. And you're responsible to upload the rest to the website yourself. Now, sometimes, actually a lot of time, I'm very lenient. I even delayed a lot of payment, which is a bad thing for you if you're running this as a business. I totally dislike being delayed for payment. It's not that it's a lack of money. No, it's, to me, it's a lack of integrity. So I wouldn't like to take on clients anymore if they don't pay up. Okay, that is something I promised myself, and it's exactly why I decided to do these videos more with you guys, so that I can transition into a pure consultant. I will teach you guys the courses and actually give you guys everything that you need to build out your own business, your own website, and do the SEO and so on, which actually there's a lot more coming, so let's keep on going. Alright, so we have now finished building the wireframe. Once you build the wireframe, you then need to go to step number 5, acquire contents. Acquire contents is a very time-consuming kind of work, because you're literally right now have to chase after your clients. Now, yes, I did say that it's their responsibility. If they don't provide me with the contents and the images by the, or media, I should say media files, by the end of the contract, I'm done my work and it's all up to them. However, 99% of the time, you can't get the rest of the payment because they will just tell you you didn't complete the website. Yeah, this is what makes me tick once again. Okay, now I understand. Let's put back my face again. I understand that everybody's busy, and as a solopreneur, as an entrepreneur, my time is free for all. My time is how much work I can get done per day I'm actually up. Because actually when I'm up from my 8 hours of sleep, I'm working. I'm just working and working and working and working. Now, let's not forget the fact that being by yourself, no kids, no family, has that perk. So nobody can disturb you to do anything. But that's not the way how the rest of the world works. A lot of people that I work with, they either have their kids or their own business, or their own clients bothering them, so they can't even manage their time properly. So I'm trying to learn as I go as well when it comes to dealing with this sort of situation. Now, being a solopreneur for this long, I don't usually like to wait, and so that causes a lot of problems. So if you're like me, just try to follow my way that I'm going to show you, because that made my life a lot easier. Okay, so let's show you right now. So yes, you need to acquire content. A lot of time they don't know what the hell they're supposed to get. So what I do is I actually take several steps. Number one, we'll call step A, I will write out instruction for every section content. Yeah, literally, I write them out. I will say, okay, so for heading 1 on homepage, I want you to give me this line that doesn't exceed how many pixels or how many words. And for this paragraph, I need it to be like this. And for this bullet point, I need 3 bullet points that you should come up with. Yeah, I literally walk them through how exactly they should do it. Because usually by this time, after building out the framework, I'm done designing on my part. Because, I mean, although I didn't show you guys, but this is usually at this point, building a wireframe, I'm already done my design. So I have to take my time to actually instruct them how to get every single content. I even give them a Google Sheets link for them to actually upload the folder. Okay. Oh wow, it's taking its time to okay. Google Sheets link, so that they are writing the contents onto the link I give them to the docs. So I don't actually have to chase after them. When they finish writing, it's on there, I can see it. If it is not done by the schedule that I'm hoping, I will follow with them 3 times before I call them. So at least doing this way, I learned this from Ryan's store, which is a great, I guess, I call him my mentor actually. He has a very systemic way, which I love, because that's usually the way I do things as well. So he puts everything into Google Drive, Google Sheets, YouTube, right, all the other stuff. Oh, yeah, don't forget, I even would record a YouTube video or videos of step number A. Yeah, that's what I would do, literally, is say, hey, I know that I asked you to do this content, I want this media file here, so here's how you can actually get it. So I will not only write the instruction for them, I also record them into a video file so that they know exactly what they should do. And guys, this is the exact same way that I teach my virtual assistants. Virtual assistants are being paid by the task they're given. Okay, they're not paid to think. So if you don't have a concise instruction like this, I know even with concise instruction like this, they will still make mistake. I get it. I asked a VA to do a keyword research, and exactly the way that I described to them, I still don't get the best keywords that I want. Okay, so in the end, I paid $60 US for 100 keywords. So I will have to go back and do the keyword refinement myself. So I mean, there's pros and cons hiring VAs, but I try to refine the steps, the guideline of getting my keywords, in this case, getting the client's contents done. Okay, usually by then, hopefully they will get it done soon. Okay, so let's recap a little bit. Okay, so actually let me add this thing in. Let me add the time frame in. Okay, so decide on the domain. I want to say get it done in first day. Same thing with hosting, because I would need these things. Building a framework, I usually would say the 7th day. Same thing, building a wireframe, I will say it will be the 14th day. Okay? This is the time frame that I'm doing for myself. However, when acquiring content, I would hope I kind of synchronize together. So I will give out the instruction on the first day, and hopefully by the 14th day, this part is done by clients. By the 14th day, my contents should be all done. My images should be all stored in the Google folder that I have shared to them. Now let's talk about the tools. Number 6 is the tools required and paid by clients. What is this? What does this mean? A lot of time when I'm building a website like this using WordPress, there's certain plugin which is like a small software within WordPress, or there is email service provider, or there's the chatbot services, whatever that they have asked me to implement based on their request. Then I will tell them exactly how many tools that is needed, and additional to what you're paying me for my fees, you have to pay for it. Why do I ask my clients to pay for this? Easy, because usually for website design, if you know that they are not going to become your online marketing or SEO or paid ad client that you're gonna get monthly retainers for, then they're usually off the hook. But if you build it using your own license, you see every software as a service, plugins, email service provider, online scheduling, chatbot, these are all considered software as a service. Those cost money to maintain, to use. And if you are the one who's paying for it, then you're losing money. Now this is being very realistic here, okay? If you are not asking them for the money, or you ask them, okay, so it's included in the service, at the end of the day, once they're done, well, you're screwed. You're gonna keep on paying for those fees, and you can't go ahead and go after them. I usually like to make it clear right from the beginning that you guys need to pay for these plugins. So I will say, okay, usually I will have page builder plugin. I would usually have emails automation. I would usually have online scheduling. I would usually have a CRM, chatbot. I could go on and on and on. This list only grows with clients' requests for the function that is right up here. Okay? Oh, so they have a request for a referral program. Okay? And referral program. I will list out the fees required. And now, when do I need this? First day as well. Usually when I'm really skipping all the time that I talk about getting the sales or getting the contract signed. Okay, this is at the step of whatchamacallit. At the step that is already signed, contract is done. Okay, so on the contract they will be given notice of, okay, they need this, that, all 6 tools. Okay, that will be how much, and it have to be paid by you guys. And then I will tell them to give me the login info in Google folder. Okay, that's what I would require right from the first day, because I'm building it on for them. I'm building it on their server. I'm building it on using their tools. Okay, it has nothing to do with me. If anything's wrong, at least their account is protected, served by these guys. Okay, if I use my account after the work is done, they have problem, they have to keep on coming to me, but I'm paying for that. It doesn't make sense financially for me. I know for clients, you guys probably think I am being very cheap. I'm not. These fees aren't expensive, but you don't know the person on the other end of the screen. Okay, you need to be sure to protect yourself. What if there's fraudulent? Okay, what if their business? What if they're out of business? What are you gonna do about it, right? Nothing. So you have to make sure you learn to protect yourself. So up to now, we have 6 exact steps of doing a web design. I know it looks like a lot, right? For something as simple as building a website, why the hell is there so much stuff, right? Well, this is the main reason. See, I even have a new chatbot, which is lovely, by Mobile Monkey. For such a simple thing, such a simple website, why do I have so many different steps? Well, this is why. It takes this much effort. It takes this much work for a website to be built properly. It's not as easy as, okay, sure, I want this and that. Okay, let me go search for a template and build it on. No, I actually have to draw out the design, think about how it should work. I will look at the competitors that they want me to compare with, and so on and so forth, so I know how to build a kick-ass website so that they can get their clients coming to them, so that they can be making money out of the website. So what's the point of having a website that doesn't work, right? So all these steps, once all these steps are done, and say, okay, contract complete, I will then do a few things. Number 1, install analytical tools. We're talking about Google Analytics, Search Consoles, Hotjar, which is like more in-depth page searching tool. They can actually capture where you're scrolling, clicking, and stuff. It's a little scary, but it works. It works. You need an analytical tool. Okay, so once I have installed these tools, I will also build up a future online marketing anticipation report. So in layman term, or in online marketing term, this is sort of like the projection of SEO report. If they were to take on SEO, then this is the projected, let's see if you guys can, this is one. Sort of like that. Obviously, it won't kind of like that. It will kind of like this. If they take the SEO route or online marketing, this is the anticipation report. And I'll also give them that if they don't, then they usually would have a flag. No online marketing. Why did I bother to create such a report at the end of the contract? Take a guess, guys. Take a guess. I want to have a sip of water. Okay. Now, let me review the answer. The answer to this report is that I want to keep on working for them, with them. I want to tell them that, hey, if you take on my service of SEO, then here is what you're gonna be getting. You are gonna see your traffic going up. So we got increasing traffic, which also means increasing conversion, which also means increasing sales. If there's nothing done, there's nothing, no traffic, no conversion, and no sales. That's as simple as that. This is the kind of stuff that I like to tell them. Hey, if you have taken my advice of taking on this work online marketing retainer, so this is going to be a monthly retainer, monthly contract, 6 to 12 months, and obviously this is 0, 3, 3, 6, 9, 12 months traffic. Here, I think you guys can understand this better with a better graphic. Then, this is the kind of anticipation for the business website that I made for you. Do you want to take it? I obviously would tell them that, okay, the beneficial of doing that, the beneficial and the con of doing that. That's already explained in here. Okay, we have the benefit, the pros, and the cons of doing this. And if they do decide that, hey, this is something really beneficial for them, then I will then go on to preparing and signing a new contract. That's step number 8. So total of 8 steps for you to do a web design project for a client. All the steps, starting from designing on a domain name, getting the hosting server for WordPress, building a framework, which is also brainstorming and listening their client request, wireframing the design. So I would do a design on OneNote, and then I'll do a design on WordPress. Acquiring the contents, which then is done by the clients between the first 2 weeks. Then getting the tools paid by the clients on the first day. Contract completion, installing the analytical tools, and building a future anticipation report. That is how you're gonna get the next contract. Now, people might say, hey, I am learning from you not to do this for other people though. I want to do it for myself. That's great. That's great. You take exactly these 8 steps. How I build a website from scratch, a WordPress website from scratch. You will be able to continue on and start building your own website. And you can get it done probably within a month. Yeah, it's pretty easy. Now, obviously, guys, I cannot disclose the entire breakdown of how I go into getting the domain, getting the hosting, getting the framework, getting the wireframe, how to get contents, how to come up with contents, etc. what tools to take. It's gonna be so much, and even installing the analytical tool. Like this is gonna take at least another 10 hours for me to give you everything. If you do think that, hey, you want to give it a try, you want to build a website for yourself, or you're thinking of starting to do a consulting firm like I am, and you want to build a website for other people, then I want to invite you to talk to me. And using the link down below, I want you to pick a date. I want you to tell me a little bit about yourself first, and pick a day after you're done speaking to me over Zoom. Because in that way, I would know exactly what niche you're going to be in and what sort of direction I can actually guide you to. I have a whole selections of tools, a whole selection of courses that can actually walk you through the exact steps, but it might not be the best fit for you if we don't have a quick talk. It's gonna be just 15 to 30 minutes. It's not gonna take a whole lot of your time, but by doing so, you guys can actually learn how to get the most potential out of your business. So if that interests you, make sure you click the button below to talk to me. We'll get on a talk really quickly, and let's go from there. If you think, hey, I want to do things out on my own, great. Below, just keep scrolling down. There's a whole bunch of free stuff, like the tools that I've suggested, the guide that I've suggested. Go ahead and download them, okay? You can do that as well. Either way that you're choosing, I'm hoping to speak to you on the other side. So